Thank you. My name is Christine Ryan, and I'm the legal director of the Global Justice Centre. We're a nonprofit based in New York that focuses on international human rights to advance reproductive freedom and gender justice more broadly. My own background is almost in a mix of scholarly work and activism for abortion, looking particularly at how different movements around the world have brought about liberalization of many of these very stringent, backward, draconian laws that restrict women's reproductive freedoms, whether that was in Ireland, my home country, or in states like Colombia and Argentina. But with the Global Justice Centre right now, our work is looking to those models from other states and from strong feminist movements that have achieved the unthinkable to see what advocates within the United States can learn from that. And key to many of these movements has been a turn and an embrace of the international human rights legal framework. And one of the reasons for that, and why oftentimes this hasn't been seen as a helpful framework to use in the United States, has been sometimes a unhelpful embrace of the idea of US exceptionalism. And even though the US rightly holds other states to account for violations of international human rights, it's shocking the extent to which both the administration here and, frankly, many civil society groups have not highlighted how the US is failing to uphold its international human rights obligations. And what we're seeing and what has played out in other countries is that using the international human rights framework has real advantages for when you want to go on the offensive. So for 50 years, the reproductive justice movement here in the US worked defensively to try and stop the whittling away of the constitutional protection established in Roe versus Wade. But now we're facing an environment that's untethered to the right that was protected in Roe v. Wade. We don't have that constitutional protection. And we need to look to a longer lasting framework that provides affirmative support for a woman and pregnant person's right to reproductive freedom, and also looks beyond just abortion care. The reproductive justice movement, which is grounded in ideas of universal human rights, has long been trying to educate us that the right to reproductive freedom must include more than abortion care, contraception care, and look at how society can support a woman, her community, her family's right to raise families in a healthy environment and have the resources to do so free from discrimination. And part of our work at present is also documenting the violations of human rights that are occurring in this country on a massive scale. 22 million women do not have access to safe, legal abortion care right now. Not that, of course, there are phenomenal networks that are trying to improve access where abortion is illegal in this country, but it is still necessary to document the harms that are and the human rights violations that are being experienced, including violations of the right to life, health, privacy, the freedom from cruel, inhuman, degrading treatment, and women's right to raise their families in healthy environments and make decisions about their pregnancy. It's important to hold the US to account for what it's doing to women in this country on the global stage, and we would be remiss in civil society organizations if we did not try to do that. At present, with a coalition of up to 50 organizations, we're making a submission to the UN documenting many of the harms that have played out in just this short 6-month, 8-month period since the Dobbs decision, and highlighting how women's rights are being undermined in a grave and systematic way in this country. And what is important about using this framework is how it really embraces intersectionality and looks at how those who are most impacted feel and experiences these harms, and how their experiences, including systematic failures to provide healthcare in this country, to address the criminal legal system that disproportionately impacts Black and brown persons in this country, to highlight this real failure to protect human rights for citizens and non-citizens in this country. Thank you.